In today's video, we're going to take a look at a brand new throwing knife from... What? Really? It's not? Oh! Today's video, we're going to take a look at a brand new Bushcraft knife from the folks at Schrade. Coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. So this is going to be a weird video, okay? And here's why. I actually shot an entire video already of the SCHF56L, the new Bushcraft series knife from Schrade, and things did not turn out as I expected. And here's why. I wound up with a two-piece knife. And I was extremely surprised by that because I've never had a single issue with Schrade. So I got in touch with Schrade, and actually what I think happened, it made sense and it actually answered some questions. By the way, they sent me a new one to try out and told me to beat the heck out of it, and we're going to. But what we'll do first, I think, is go ahead and we'll talk about the specs on the knife. We'll show you what happened to it, and then we'll talk about why we think that happened, and then we'll take this new one and beat the heck out of it. We're going to make sure it's going to pass muster, so let's get to it. Okay, so again, this is the brand new Schrade SCHF56L. This knife features a 4.4-inch drop point blade of 1095 high carbon steel. It's a full tang knife with TPE handle scales and a weight of 8.4 ounces. And it comes with a polyester belt sheath with a built-in ferro rod holder and ferro rod. Since I did the offhand feathers last time and the dominant hand balance test, we're going to switch that up again. So let's just see how well it goes. This is hilarious. Okie dokie. Wow. My first ever. Gonna show you this. Look at there. Broker. Well, been testing Schrades now for going on almost 2 years. Every single one, everyone, I have done the balance test on. I think. If not everyone, almost everyone. And there's been some calibration issues trying to get them dialed in, so they haven't all been perfect sticks, and I've beat the heck out of a lot of them. So, wow, I'm disappointed, and because I really like this knife, but we'll, I'm gonna get back in touch with Schrade and we'll find out what the deal is. So I did get in touch with Schrade, let them know what happened, and they did some research, and here's what they came back to me with. It makes sense. I actually spoke to Morgan Taylor at SHOT Show about it again, and you know he gave me some more details. But what happens is these knives were one of the very first batch that they sent out for samples, and the intended purpose for these knives was for salesman samples and to showcase and do photographs and publicity photographs and media stuff like that. They weren't really designed to be used, and the reason is because they weren't really necessarily properly heat treated. Now, they were probably heat treated, is what Schrade told me, but here's the way it works. When they've only got a very small run, they'll send them to the heat treat, and they'll probably get put in on somebody else's run. So they may not, it may not even be the same kind of steel. You know, different kinds of steel are heat treated differently. So unlike a production knife that they're ready to sell, which they're going to run a whole batch of their knives is going to be heat treated to the proper specifications for the proper steel for what they want. They just have a very small sample that they're going to use, you know, for sales samples and for photography. Then they're not gonna, it just doesn't make sense to go to the expense to run a whole heat treats cycle for a few knives. So what happens is, just straight up, the heat treat people most likely just put them in with another batch, and so the process may not be tuned correctly for the knife or steel that we've actually got here. I guess some people could say that's just a cop-out excuse, but it made total sense to me. It's just business, and that's the way stuff works. I tell you, they did send me the replacements and told me to beat the crap out of them, it's fine. Which I beat the crap out of most every Schrade I've ever reviewed. I've not had a single problem. Which brings me to a little bit of rambling, and I got maybe a small rant here. You know that I review a lot of Schrade here, and I like Schrade. Schrade was the first company to send me anything to review as a sample, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I actually feel certainly a little loyalty to them, and as long as they continue to produce quality products, and I think they're doing a great job, I will continue to feel that loyalty. That's just, I'm being honest and straight with you. If they were putting out junk, I wouldn't be looking at them, but they're not, in my opinion. But I've had several comments. It's a bunch of Chinese crap. They break. Look at these videos. This failed, that failed, this failed. Okay. For example, the last one that I remember, I got a comment, you know, Schrade is Chinese blank blankety blank. Okay, it didn't even make the comment section of the video because it had too much profanity in it, so it got caught. But I can see it on the back end. And so I looked at the video the guy was referencing. It was a Schrade machete. They were saying it's a piece of junk. Everything was great. They took this machete and banged it on a concrete block a couple of times and it snapped. Well, and then they call that a failure. I'm sorry, I call that gross abuse. You know, definitely it failed. It failed to survive a couple of strong impacts on a concrete block. That's not what it's made to do. You know, I've seen another one where there's a new Schrade knife that's got a lock. It's a really strong lock. It was tested. The way locks are tested with a weight on it to, like, I don't know, but a lot of weight. Well, I saw a failure video where somebody's taking the knife and banging it down on something, on a brick or block, and broke the lock. Well, that's great, but I bet you most locks would break like that. That's not what they're designed to do. They're not designed to be struck and have that impact on them. The point being that anything can be broken, anything. And I don't think it is a fair assessment of a knife or a tool or anything else to abuse it and then say it failed and it's a piece of junk. Now, there's a place for failure testing that lets you know at what point it fails, which is, that's pretty common in a lot of different markets and industries, is do failure testing. But that means you expect it to fail. You just want to know where it's going to fail. And because it does fail, if it doesn't mean it's a piece of junk, it means that you took it beyond its expected limitations. So that's my rant. All I'm saying is, as far in my experience, Schrade has done a great job of providing an excellent quality knife or tool for the money, and or even not for the money, just a good quality. So no more rambling. We're going to beat the tar out of this knife now, so let's get to it. Okay, so here we got the Schrade knife. Now this is the L, so it's a larger size. I like this one better. I just think it's more symmetrical, looks better, and you know, I like bigger knives anyway. So, and it's not a big knife, but it's bigger than the smaller ones, right? Duh. So what I thought we would do, we got a piece of poplar here. It's kind of split up, but it's very dry. We're going to chop this thing in half. We're going to do some cross batoning with it, because I think that is a definitely puts a lot more stress on the blade than splitting, because splitting is pretty much, once it starts to split, there's no more pressure. So we're going to do this. We're going to beat the heck out of it and give it tough. It's very, very dry wood. And we're just going to have to go around it and beaver chew it till we get it through. Thumb, hit my thumb. Oh. Broke my baton. You don't think this is hardwood? I mean, it's poplar, but it ain't no sissy poplar. Okay, man. All right, now let's split it. We got a split here already, so we'll work with that. Actually, we'll do it a little tougher. Okay. Man, my thumb is numb. I banged it. All right. So we got some poplar here. And it's dry, dry, dry. Not my favorite feather wood, but we're gonna give it a shot. Kind of crumbly. Okay, I don't know about you. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, so another feature of this knife is, it comes with a ferrule rod on the sheath. It's got a pretty good 90-degree spine on it. Let's see what we can do with this. Oh yeah. I mean, that's just 6 ways from Sunday good right there. Now, speaking of abuse, another thing that I've seen a lot of people do on knife tests, and I ain't figured it out to be honest with you, is they'll do this tip test to see if they can bend the tip. I don't really know what that proves, because I can't really think of much of a use for a knife that you're going to need to do that. But just because we've had problems with the other one, I'm going to, you know, do some of this. Now, certainly, I'm sure if I wanted to, I could probably damage this knife. But I have to say, this thing's got such a thick spine on it and such a strong tip. If you can look at that down there, you can see that I ain't babying it. And and it's fine. The edge is fine, just to show you that. Through all that, still very sharp. So we now comes the moment of truth. Okay, so I don't know how well this is calibrated. I don't know if we'll get a stick every time. If we don't, I'm gonna leave some of the non-sticks in, because that's what broke the first one. So anyway, let's just get to it. First one. But we still have a one-piece knife. Okay, is that enough of the calibration process to show you that it banged up pretty good and didn't break? Okay, is that enough? Can I stick one now? Finally. Okay, so I think that might constitute as beating the heck out of it. That was a little bit of a calibration process on this one, but we got it finally, found the distance and the proper balance calibration. So anyway, as you can see, it's still a one-piece knife, and which to me validates the theory that the one they sent was just not properly heat treated, because it wasn't designed to actually be a production usable knife. It was pretty much a showcase sample, for lack of a better word. But I got to tell you, in spite of the fact that I beat this one up and it's got pine sap all over it and pretty banged around, it actually man, it took a licking and kept on ticking. And it's just the edge is still fine. There's no bends in it. It's not bent. It's not chipped. It's not dinged. No cracks. Nothing. This is a very, very solid knife. So in light of this, what happened with this knife, I actually have a little suspicion that maybe some of the failures, so to speak, that you might see on YouTube could possibly be from maybe early release non-production models that weren't really designed to be tested in that way. So I know you might say, well, if it was that bad, you know, if it wasn't any good, why'd they send it? You know what, stuff happens, and maybe they got a little overeager because they wanted to get this, you know, before the public. But I have to say, I think they were right. This production version is solid as a rock, and this 56L, in my opinion, is a very, very good knife. It's solid. It is very ergonomic and comfortable. This TPE handle, this thing just feels really good. There's no hot spots on it, and it has no jimping. Yeah, way to go, Schrade. I like that. And it's just man, you saw the feathers it carved and the way it struck a ferro rod. It is, in my opinion, solid knife and excellent value. So if you're looking for a really great price knife that is I mean, it's 100% rock solid, man. That's the SCHF56L from Schrade, and I hope this has been helpful. I hope you'll at least look at some of the failures with an open mind and a grain of salt now, and recognize that anything can be broken if you try hard enough. So, as always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that thumbs up, for sharing this video with your friends. Thanks for doing all your Amazon shopping on the Survival on Purpose links. Don't forget to check out my Facebook and Instagram. Links will be in the description. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time. We're going to try to almost cut myself there. Those are some cool little curls, man. I like them. A little bit of rambling. Since she's already broke,